Today's story shows just how far Trump's circle will go to protect their own, even when the evidence is staring them right in the face. Because now, even Trump's conservative allies are saying Happy Hour Pete Hegseth crossed the line into criminal territory.
As far as the attack is concerned, I still haven't gotten a lot of information because I rely on Pete. But to me, it was an attack. It wasn't one strike, two strikes, three strikes. Somebody asked me a question about the second strike. I didn't know about the second strike. I didn't know anything about people. I wasn't involved in it. I knew they took out a boat. Pete didn't know about second attack having to do with two people. I guess Pete would have to speak to it. I can say this. I want those boats taken out. And if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea.
I have empowered them to make that call. Now, the first couple of strikes, as you would, as any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do, and by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back, and the American people are safer.
So you didn't see any survivors, to be clear, after that first strike?
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire and smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all. And then you want to throw out really irresponsible terms about American heroes, about the judgment that they made. President Trump has empowered commanders to do what is necessary, which is dark and difficult things in the dead of night on behalf of the American people. We support them, and we will stop the poisoning of the American people.
Listen to that carefully. Trump shrugs off a second strike that killed survivors by saying he didn't know and relied on Pete. Then in the same breath, brags about empowering commanders to attack on land, attack on sea. Of course, the old Paul Revere line, as if consequences don't exist. And Hegseth? Oh, he hides behind the so-called fog of war, while dismissing the deaths of two men as background noise. This isn't leadership. It's reckless men protecting each other while pretending the rules simply don't apply to them. So ask yourself, how many times have we seen Trump distance himself only after things go wrong?
Pete Hegseth risked endangering American troops. That is the conclusion from one of the most damning reports from the Pentagon Inspector General in history. And this report stems from an extensive investigation into the Defense Secretary's decision to share sensitive war plans on a group chat that actually turned out to include a journalist, Jeffrey Goldberg. Now, Hegseth revealed in that chat the exact times the fighter jets would launch, where they were going to fly, when they would hit their targets, so what the targets were, obviously, meaning that the American pilots of those jets were at risk. It is a rare conclusion about a sitting Secretary of Defense. And news of this report comes as questions are mounting about Hegseth's control at the Pentagon and his competence after a second strike on an alleged drug boat. That strike killing two survivors who were reportedly clinging to the wreckage. Now tonight, Trump was forced to say that he would release the video of that second strike.
You released video of that first boat strike on September 2nd, but not the second video. Will you release video of that strike so that the American people can see for themselves what happened?
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release, no problem.
Now, of course, Trump has talked similarly about the Epstein files, his taxes, his MRI, but this time might be different. Maybe Trump thinks it will help Hegseth. It's unclear. But this is the video that Hegseth now claims that he himself did not watch live. He says now he didn't see it. Too many other things to do. That, of course, was after he had boasted originally on Fox News that he had watched the entire thing live back in September. Now, the Washington Post reports that if the video of the blast that killed the 2 survivors on September 2nd were made public, people would be horrified, said one person who watched the actual live feed. But it comes as more people, including staunch conservatives, are suggesting Hegseth could be guilty of an actual war crime. Listen to his former Fox News colleague, Andrew Napolitano, who now works at the Trump-friendly station Newsmax.
Everybody along the line who did it, from the Secretary of Defense to the Admiral to the people who actually pulled the trigger, should be prosecuted for a war crime for killing these 2 people.
And now we learn Pete Hegseth didn't just approve a second strike that killed survivors, he also leaked sensitive war plans to a group chat that included a journalist. Now think about that. A sitting defense secretary casually sharing classified military strategy like it's weekend gossip. The Pentagon's Inspector General calls it a serious breach. Yet Trump's response is to promise footage of the strike, as if releasing a video will fix the damage. This is the leadership running U.S. national security, reckless decisions, broken protocols, and a president more focused on spin than safeguarding American troops. What we're watching now is a full-scale scramble to rewrite the story. The Admiral is preparing to tell Congress that the 2 survivors were still somehow continuing their mission after a missile strike, a claim that magically appears only when lawyers start mentioning war crimes. Meanwhile, Pete Hegseth is under fire for leaking sensitive operations on Signal, and Republicans themselves are openly questioning his credibility. Even Trump can't keep his line straight, shifting from denial to distancing to blind support, part of the 12 steps. This isn't national security. It's a political disaster covered in excuses, contradictions, and desperation to avoid accountability. What comes next will reveal whether Congress accepts another shifting narrative or finally demands real accountability. Because at this point, the evidence isn't just troubling, it's impossible to ignore. Stay with us as this story continues to unravel. I'm Adam Carr with Debate Mania. If you like the video, go ahead and smash that like button. And why not go ahead and subscribe? Stay informed. We'll see you next time.